Today we're working on a '03 Chevy 3/4 ton with a 6.6 diesel. This is a clapped out Duramax. No crank, no start. It's had tons of stuff thrown at it. There's wires and a tuner cable. There's the fuse panel. I'll show you under the hood quick. There's covers missing on the fuse panel, rat nest there. Somebody hit the engine with some spray paint, random aftermarket accessories, all kinds of fun stuff. No inner fenders. This is gonna be a fun one. This is what it's like being a small town diag guy. Okay, right away we have a weird problem. The VIN here, you can see the last four is 6045. You come out here and look on the dash. I don't know if you can see it, but the last four by the windshield is 4303, and this is an 03 VIN. The VIN that I pulled with the scanner is a 2004 VIN. So already some weirdness. And no check engine light when I turned the key on, so I didn't expect to get communication, and I don't. And anytime I have a no-com, I like to go under the data and just verify that you're not even going to be able to pull up any data. So no-com for the engine, transmission. So we do have communication with the TCM. And on this, the only thing I'm worried about is the ABS, the transmission, and the engine. That's good enough to verify bus. And the bus seems to work. So this is GM Class 2. That's what we got going on. I think I'll have to look it up, but I believe the engine communicates via CAN on this. But we'll verify that here in a few minutes. But right now I have no comm with the engine controller. So, quick and easy test to make sure the PCM is not dead. I'm going to come out here, unplug the refrigerant pressure sensor here, get the N2 set up, graph. Done a lot of work on these Duramaxes, so I usually don't really have to stop and reference information too much. This Southwest Wisconsin's full of them, but I have 5 volts, so that's a good sign. It means PCM is not completely dead. So now I gotta look up, see what the comm wires look like, get a scope capture of that, go from there. We'll probably check powers and grounds to PCM anyway. I checked all the fuses, and everything's good there, so we'll see what we find. I've got the scope hooked up to the Class 2 communication wire here. So the most logical thing to do after verifying 5 volts, so I know the PCM's not dead. It's kind of nice they had this thing all ripped apart for me. So I've got one scope lead at the Class 2 wire at the PCM or ECM. And I've got the other one at the DLC. Well, this is really hard to see out here in the sun, but you can see those mirror each other perfectly. So I'm confident that my wiring integrity is good. And I still don't have communication with the ECM. So now I have a bench rig for this, so I'm going to pull that ECM out, put it on the bench rig, and see if I can communicate with it on the bench. I think that's probably the fastest way to deal with this. There's probably several other ways. I could just isolate just the Class 2 for the ECM connect it directly to the DLC, back the pin out, and do it that way, but this is going to be the fastest way for me. So that's my next step, is see if this will communicate on the bench. So that's what I'm going to do. Alright, this is a bench rig. It's a pretty ridiculous setup, but it works. We've just got a OBD scanner hooked up to it. This is actually a known good ECM that I had here. I'm just going to prove that the rig works. Hopefully. Okay, so it ID'd it. This is live data. So I'm getting a coolant temp of -40. That's pretty normal. So since I can read data, I'm pretty confident that this one works. My bench rig works. So I know that's good. I'm going to go ahead and hook up the ECM out of that Duramax and see what that looks like. Okay, this is the one out of that truck. Same setup, same rig. Right away, if you look at the end of the dongle, you can see it's trying to communicate. Nothing's happening. But we're going to go do the same process and see if we can get access to it here.
5 minutes later.
And you can see it's running through all the auto scan OBD2 protocols. I think this one's VPW, but I can't remember. I was probably going to run through them a couple times before it tells me it won't work. Alright, no comm. And you can see that this little green light here that's flickering will flicker with the bus speed. You'll be able to see that work. Maybe I'll hook the other one up and give you a quick shot of that. Okay, this is the known good hooked back up. You can see I have the live data pulled up. And that's what that green light looks like when you're communicating. Nice steady flash. That's flashing about the same speed as what the bus looks like. If I had a scope hooked up, you could see it kind of sinks in, so you could see what's going on there. But anyway, that proves that that other PCM will not communicate. It's just no good. So we'll get them a PCM and see if we can make this thing run.